And we're on the air in 3, 2, 1.
Speedy TV. Live from Paralyzed Veterans of America's Health Summit.
Delivering excellence, achieving state-of-the-art healthcare.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim Pogo for Speedy TV. We're at the Paralyzed Veterans of America's Summit 2012. We're inside the Paris Hotel here in Las Vegas. Now, it's day 2 of the summit, so everything's up and running and in full gear. We'll take you around to the expo today. We'll also meet some people who have made some great advancements in areas like adaptive technologies, and we'll talk to a couple of today's speakers as well. Up first, 2 gentlemen who are absolute leaders in their field of spinal cord injury research. Let me introduce Dr. Stephen Waxman, Jeffrey Kostis, 2 of today's featured speakers at Day 2 of Summit 2012. Gentlemen, thanks for taking a minute because I know you got to run. First of all, before we get into what you spoke about this morning, just first your thoughts on being here at the Summit and what it feels like to be a featured speaker.
Well, it's obviously an honor, and it's a pleasure. And Steve and I both have been affiliated with PVA for a long time, and to see things kind of crystallized at this exciting level, bringing together clinicians, rehab specialists, surgeons, basic sciences. It's exciting. It's very good.
I limit my travel, but the reason I'm here is that I have so much respect, and all of us at Yale are so excited about our partnership with PVA. And PVA has been absolutely a beacon in spinal cord injury research, but also in terms of advocacy, barrier-free design, things like that. It's been part of the forefront and really has transformed spinal cord injury medicine, spinal cord injury research, so we're very proud of our relationship with PVA.
Tell us about your research center, what you guys do there, and there is a vital connection between the research center and the PVA, isn't there not?
There is a vital connection. This was founded as a partnership, and we use the word partnership in a very specific way, between PVA and Yale University. The center was established in 1986. We dedicated the building in 1988, and here 25 years later we're one of the world leaders in spinal cord research, and there's no question that PVA's support has been absolutely invaluable. We could not do what we do without PVA, and in addition to funds, PVA give us a wonderfully well-honed sense of mission. Our lab is different than many labs. We know that there are end users waiting for our results. It gives our scientists a sense of focal mission, and that's a gift from PVA.
And of all the speakers this week, you guys are pretty much handling the really high-end medical, molecular level sort of stuff and research. So for the folks watching, maybe can you just kind of break down some of your recent findings, what you're working on, and some of the things you talked about this morning?
Sure. And Steve and I are partners in the sense that we collaborate and work together, but we have our independent programs and we bring the two together. So in terms of my end of things, we're really interested in cellular therapies, being able to find a cell type that we can deliver either directly into the site of spinal cord injury, and very exciting work that we actually had a clinical study with stroke patients that we're going to be working with spinal cord injury patients as well, to infuse a adult stem cell from bone marrow, have it home to the site of the lesion, and partake in a whole variety of mechanisms in terms of repair, producing trophic factors that will protect cells and axons that are injured, induce vessels to grow, and to come in and revascularize the lesion site in an appropriate way, which is critical, to encourage axons to sprout, nerve fibers regenerate, build new circuits. And we're very excited from the work we've seen in our animal models, and we'd really like to be able to get it into a clinical trial.
Pretty soon, hopefully, right?
I hope so.
In your years of experience, how far along have we come?
It's tremendous. I mean, things are about to explode. I mean, there are so many groups, our group and others, that are just really pushing for translation. This wasn't done years ago. People looked at the basic science and would say, spinal cord injury, how are we going to fix things? We've got damaged central nervous system. We're knocking on the door. It's very exciting. There's a whole variety of methodologies, from cell therapies to small molecules to understanding the unique genetics of aspects that Dr. Waxman Steve works with. I think we're knocking at the door. What do you think, Steve?
I think knocking on the door is a good analogy. The door is not going to open immediately. It's not going to open quickly, and we're going to open it carefully and properly. But we're on the threshold, and this was unthinkable when PVA established this research center. So the advances are stunningly exciting.
And you touched on something like those old attitudes that we moved past finally. Sort of relates to something you said earlier today. Did you really get told when you were in medical school, like, spinal cord injury research? Don't bother with that. What are you doing that for? It's going to go nowhere.
I was told by a mentor who thought he was doing me a favor and who wanted me to focus my career in the most productive way. I was told, Steve, you're very special. Don't waste your time on spinal cord research. And in retrospect, that was well-meaning but tragically misfocused advice. And to be fair, what happened was that PVA was part of a vanguard that changed spinal cord injury research. It demystified it, it took away the stigma. Together with VA, it attracted a cohort of very highly qualified researchers, nourished them. This was in the late 1970s, the early 1980s, and now we're seeing the fruits of that. But there has been a very significant transformation.
Kind of along those lines, periodically we invite PVA to come out, and we try to keep it informal in terms of going to the lab, seeing the postdocs, the students, the young doctors, hands-on, asking what's going on, just to wander around. We structure it. We have some formal activities. We're due for that again. But from our end of it, when you get I hate to use a term, but a really nerdy molecular biologist that's kind of holed up in his room, okay, cranking out genes, and when PVA comes and he looks and sees a representative in a chair, starts talking to him, these guys light up. They understand what they're doing and why. It's like a conversion to saying, hey, I'm working on spinal cord injury, not just gene X. Mm-hmm. And it's really, it cuts both ways, that we hope that PVA can come and we can share with them what we're doing in the lab, but we also want our lab staff, particularly the junior people, to see what's going on and why we're doing this and why they're doing it. And that pushes them into SCI research. It stays with them.
The PVA Research Center is special in a couple of ways. One is because we're mission-driven and because we are truly multidisciplinary, we've developed a pretty unique culture. We want every door in the building to be open. By design, there are blackboards in the halls, there's coffee in the middle, and we want it to be as easy for a molecular biologist to talk to a clinical trials person as saying, what do you think of this idea? How do we get there? Let's sit down over a cup of coffee and do it now. And we've built a culture where that happens. The other thing about the PVA Research Center is that the building in New Haven is absolutely unique in housing very, very powerful methodologies and a truly multidisciplinary collaborative culture. But it's the tip of an iceberg. And so there now is a Department of Neural Injury and Repair at the University of Sapporo, Japan. That department is an offshoot of and a mirror image of the PVA Center. It was established by one of Jeff Kosis's former trainees. We're the hub of an international collaboration on pain, neuropathic pain, genomics, and genetics. And so we have colleagues in Europe, colleagues in China. We're able to surveil a total population of 3 billion people, all happening in New Haven, but as part of a very well-orchestrated international collaboration. And so what you see at the building in New Haven is truly just the tip of an iceberg.
Now I know I gotta catch a plane here in a few minutes. You're busy guys, right? But one of the other messages here today is that with all the things you're working on and working towards, building towards, it really providing hope, right, is kind of an underlying thing, right?
I'm sorry.
Providing hope.
Yeah, but we provide rational, realistic hope. There'll be certain clinical trials that may be done overseas that don't quite fit the standards that the FDA and we would use here in the U.S. or Japan or in Europe. And if patients want to pay for those therapies, there we tell them no. Okay, you're going to make your decision, but we try to keep them in the realm of reality. And so, sure, we're hopeful. We see what we're doing, but we want to be honest and realistic with patients and not breed false hope.
To put this in context, for years, I use words very carefully, and for years I did not use the word cure. I now use the word cure. I don't use the word cure together with the word tomorrow, but I use the word cure. I use it as an achievable objective. Parts of the cure are going to be very tough, but it's an achievable objective, and we're moving toward it in a very carefully orchestrated, careful, and as prompt as possible manner.
So you guys do believe that one day we'll see it happen?
Oh, absolutely. And there are some very important issues here. Part of the issue is the technologies that we now have, and we have new technologies, cellular, molecular, that let us move ahead very rapidly and in ways that were not previously imaginable. The second is our learning as researchers what's meant by a cure. So if one means total restoration, 100% of function, that may not be achievable at this point. If, on the other hand, one wants to take a person with a C5 injury and get them functioning at a C8, T1 way, which will give them dexterity of the hands, that is tough but is achievable. If one defines a piece of the cure as better autonomic function, or restoration of normal sensory function, or being relieved of neuropathic pain, those have become reachable objectives. So yes, I think that cures are in sight.
Yeah, and along those lines, I mean, I look at SCI as being staged in a sense of acute injury, subacute, meaning several weeks, months out, and then chronic. These are different disease processes. So my very enthusiastic outlook is that with acute and subacute SCIs, we are going to make very significant advances. I can't give you a time frame. Chronic SCI is a different bird. Do you agree with me? It's a different problem. But just as Steve said, you weren't allowed to talk about spinal cord injury when he was a medical graduate student, what we're seeing now is that this wave of work that's been done with acute SCI, now people are stepping out and saying, well, all right, they say it can't be done, but let's look at a chronic model. Let's see what we can do with that. So chronic SCI is starting to pop up in the research community in an organized way, and it's exciting. It's going to be different strategies most likely, but it's something that we have to keep pushing on.
Fantastic. Dr. Kosis, Dr. Waxman, please keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great, it's our pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Where I get probably the most value out of one of these meetings is picking the brains of other experts, and it's not really the medical management, it's more the logistics of how you handle certain situations that are unique, and so that's invaluable. I mean, it's hard to get that in any other fashion.
Well, it's creating the forum, the opportunity, the venue to actually take time to sit and think about and talk about the issues that are concerning us in practice that come and go with us every day. And so to sit with like-minded colleagues who are facing some of the same challenges and try to figure out how do we move forward and to support each other in doing that and hear what each other has to say. It's very powerful.
It's a nice way to interact with peers from around the country that I just hear on the telephone, basically. Share ideas, be able to pass on what I think are my best practices, pick up from theirs, interact with people from different disciplines that you don't normally interact with on a regular daily basis.
I enlisted in the United States Army, went to Iraq in 2003.
Lance's tank was completely destroyed when it was hit by an IED.
I was an only survivor.
Paralyzed Veterans of America is an independent organization dedicated to ensuring our injured veterans get all the benefits they've earned and need.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to serve our veterans.
If you would like to help our veterans, visit pva.org.
Speedy TV, a service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
More from day 2 of the PVA Summmit 2012. I'm with Sherman Gillums. He's one of the executives of the PVA. And first off, just describe for us just how important of an event this is for PVA every year.
Well, I gave some comments earlier to the audience. It's really about providing hope for a lot of men and women who suffer the devastating effects of spinal cord injury and disease. These are clinicians, therapists, counselors, doctors from around the country, nurses, can't leave them out, who who their everyday work involves putting lives back together, but they come here to find and discuss ways to do that even better. And the more we do that, the closer we get to finding things like a cure for paralysis, a cure for ALS, something that can extend the lives of these men and women who face these devastating diseases. But it's about providing hope, and anytime a bunch of great minds come together to do that, the chances of success are likely.
It's a unique opportunity to have all these great minds in the same place, exchanging these ideas.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, PVA does so many things in so many different areas for veterans, with benefits and with healthcare, but also with jobs. And Operation PAVE, that's your department, right?
Yeah, my department has taken on the challenge of ending rampant unemployment in the disabled veteran population. It hovers around 85% by most estimates. But we think it's a winnable challenge if we continue to garner the support of our corporate investors, our donors, the public. We work with just about anyone who's interested in ending unemployment for veterans. The public can find out more about it at mission-able.com or at operationpave.org. But we want to end veteran unemployment. We want to build lives and provide better futures for veterans who have a disability but want to get back to work.
Unfortunately, some of these men and women have a really difficult time, don't they, finding a job when they get back home?
Well, it's a multifaceted challenge. We, on the one hand, you have veterans who, because of lowered expectations, don't know how to embark upon that journey of despite a disability, overcoming social barriers and things like that. We have counselors at the spinal cord injury centers. Right now there are 7 of them. Our newest center opened in Tampa just this month. But they go to the bedside or they engage veterans early in the rehab process with the hopes of planting the seeds of the self-esteem and the drive to get back to work. At the other end of that, you have employers who may have this sense that they want to hire people with disabilities, but there are practical challenges to that. First of all, how do you engage that community? What do you have to learn about it? Is it costly? We want to debunk all the stigmas and misperceptions about that and work with employers to bring more disabled veterans into the workplace.
It really is a two-sided thing for you guys. I mean, yes, you have to take on the vets and help them out, but it's really working with the employers too, isn't it?
Exactly, and we're making progress. We've got probably about 400 employers who have committed to hiring veterans. We enjoy partnerships with a lot of these employers and have ongoing discussions about how best to do that. We just attended the hiring fair and expo in Detroit. We gave a period of instruction to a group of employers on how to get past the stigmas and misperceptions and actually make the hire.
Are you finding that you're finding more and more employers jumping on board, getting involved?
I think the understanding is there's a better understanding of how to do that. Of course, there are practical challenges. For one, you have to have the veterans ready to go back to work, and that's an investment. A lot of times it depends on at what stage of their rehab process that a veteran happens to be that will dictate whether he or she is ready to go back to work. In some cases, you've got veterans who are ready and just have to have the qualifications, some kind of certification, so we help integrate all the resources that are available for veterans to make them more employable. The idea at the end of the day is to find sustained competitive employment for these people. So we're not going to push them in the jobs that you typically think about when the typical Walmart greeter type jobs. There's nothing wrong with them, but for some veterans that undershoots their best potential. And so we want to put them in those good jobs out there and ascend and succeed in those jobs as well.
Absolutely, and your hard work is highlighted right here at the Summit. We met one of you guys yesterday working for one of the sponsor, VMI.
Yes, sir, and I got a chance to talk with that gentleman about where the program has taken him along his journey, and he's not done yet. Even though he's found good employment with a great company, he aspires to be more. He wants to be a physician's assistant. And one of the things we taught in our program is the idea that we're partners for life. We're not going to stop where we think you should stop. We're gonna take you and be with you along the journey wherever that takes you. And so in his case, we hope to see him working in a hospital as a physician's assistant one day.
So it's not like, oh, you got a gig, you're good, see you bye, right? It's that's only step one, right?
Well, that's the problem with your traditional vocational rehabilitation programs. That's ideally where the relationship ends. And because we're partners for life, we're going to be there on your first job, second job, third job, through your college education, through certifications, apprenticeships. At the end of the day, we want to give you exactly what you want in this process for you. And that differs across all. Any man or woman should decide what they want to be in life, and we're here to provide that opportunity.
Love it. Sherman, thank you for your hard work, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, here we are, about halfway through, so give us your thoughts so far at the summit this year.
So far, it's been a good summit. It's good attendance, and some of the tracks have been really very interesting. There's organizationally this year has been really very good and enjoyable.
Oh, it's my first year here, and I'm very impressed. I think I'll be able to take a lot back to St. Louis, and I look forward to attending in the following years. It's been very well organized and very well run.
Now I am a brand new RN to SCI for 2 weeks. So for me, it's been a huge learning experience for everything. I'm in like learning overload right now, but it's been really good. And it's a good combination of presentation. One, you get your hands into the products, and the other one, you sit and you listen to people talking about things. So it's a good combination.
We've got an entire generation of men and women who have seen war. They're going to need voices.
Paralyzed Veterans of America represents them.
We're going to make sure that the Veterans Affairs gives them everything that they're entitled to.
Changing lives, building futures. That's Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Speedy TV.
Live from Paralyzed Veterans of America's Health Summit.
Delivering excellence, achieving state-of-the-art healthcare.
Speedy TV.
We're back with more from the PVA's Summit 2012. I'm with Peter Axelson. He's an engineer and one of our speakers today. How you doing, sir?
Great. It's great to be here at the summit. This is my first summit.
Excellent. So how did you get involved this year and end up being here?
Well, we do a lot of work with the Paralyzed Veterans of America, and so it's just a natural thing to want to be here. It's great to have a clinical audience that's out serving the needs of veterans and to be able to talk to them about technologies that are available for veterans to use and as part of their daily life and activities, recreation, leisure, etc.
Talk about, first of all, your involvement with PVA. You've been there with them quite some time, right?
Yes, I've been part of the Research Foundation since 1979. I've been one of the directors helping review the research proposals, and of course my area of expertise is in the assistive technology development work and also clinical research, but I've become very knowledgeable about the research components of spinal cord regeneration research and research related to multiple sclerosis as well.
In your research work, what do you guys come up with? What do you find? What sort of things over the years have you guys been able to develop and that are out there in real world applications then with these end users?
Well, with my personal experience in using a manual wheelchair, my background in wheeled mobility and seating is where we've done most of our own company's research and development, where we've designed and developed products to make wheelchairs more comfortable to sit in, to make them easier to push, more functional to push, the back support system. And we worked on the hip grip to help provide dynamic postural support, the spring-loaded orthosis that I showed for recreational applications to be able to move forward and get back up for golfing, for skiing, cross-country skiing. Some of the other applications that apply to recreation are things that we do kind of in our spare time, free time. You can't get funding for a lot of those things, but designing the original sit skis and mono skis was just a personal passion of mine to get back out into the snow and be out doing active sports, cross-country skiing, to be able to be out in the snow with family and friends and compete and have a way to exercise, and now interact socially with my daughter skiing and be out in the outdoor environment. It's an awesome thing to be able to do.
That's an important point because, like you said, maybe it's hard to get funding for the maybe non-crucial sort of aspects, but it's also important. Recreation, doing the things you used to love to do and that you want to continue to do and everything, and that's what you guys are working on.
Yes, the wheelchair applications, is my role as chairman of the Wheelchair Standards Committee for the United States. That's an important thing to have those test procedures, test products, make sure they're safe for veterans and for Medicare recipients is important, but also technology to help people get back to work are important as well. But there's the leisure and the recreational aspects often get overlooked. And so I think it's really important that everyone can be able to continue to pursue whatever leisure, recreational interests they have, so that gives them the motivation to want to stay healthy, eat healthy, sleep healthy, exercise to be healthy.
Absolutely.
And also to want to, gives motivation to want to work so that you have, that part of your life can continue to help support your family. But the recreational aspect is critical, because if you don't have that, it's hard to keep motivated to want to do all those other things. So everybody has leisure interests, and we're supposed to rest once a week, and resting once a week is a good plan. And having things that you can do. Some people like to do physical activities. Some do less physical activities. But regardless of what it is, there's assistive technology usually needed to be able to continue those activities, and so we get involved in designing those things as well.
You mentioned the skis. What are some of the other ones you guys have developed over the years?
Well, in the paddling sports, water sports is another good equalizer. Once you get in the water, the disabilities can kind of disappear, whether you're swimming or paddling in a boat. If you can get a good seating system, and that's the adaptive seating system we designed that can go into a kayak or into a canoe. Once somebody gets in that boat, they just can paddle, almost as well as anybody else out on the water. And so it's an equalizer. You get out on the water and suddenly everything's accessible. Wherever the water goes, you can go. And some people go out and do overnight trips, and they use it for their exercise, rowing. There's competitive paddle sports as well. So I think the water is a great equalizer. Other people like getting on powered devices, driving the jet skis or fishing boats, or driving motorboats, or water skiing on a sit ski, water ski behind a boat. So there's a lot of different water sports that allow people without use of their lower extremities to participate in those activities.
Yeah, you still had that fun, right? It's great. It's important. And with your engineering background, when you got injured, is it one of those things where you started applying those principles and those things that you learned just to kind of help you in your everyday life? Is that how this all began?
Right. When I was first studying at the Air Force Academy, I was going into aeronautical engineering, and then with my spinal cord injury, started studying general engineering. Wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing studying that engineering, and right away was trying to figure out, okay, I'd like to use my camera. I need some sort of a tripod that'll attach to my wheelchair. Started figuring that out. I wanted to continue cycling, so I wanted to figure out how to make a hand cycle I could balance. Wanted to figure out how to continue with a lot of things, and right away figured out there was a field called rehabilitation engineering, and got involved in that so that I could continue my career as an engineer with a specialty in designing adaptive equipment for people with disabilities.
Excellent. Well, keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
Peter, appreciate your time.
All right.
Well, PVA has a huge influence on my area. Their presence is known at our hospital on a regular basis, and they're advocating directly for the patient, which is really powerful.
Yeah, I'm particularly impressed by the passion that not just the members here, the attendees, but the PVA from top to bottom. It's great to have a team of clinicians, whether that's physician or nursing or therapists, psychologists, and then the PVA itself to support the efforts that we all put into it. So I think it's a very good collaboration.
The PVA has been a huge presence in my life in the last 2 years that I've been at the VA as their SCI provider. In fact, I think they're what got me by, being a new provider, not ever having done this before. They really gave me the guidance I need to break through some of the bureaucracy, get what I needed to have done without overstepping the political boundaries at my facility.
Good morning. I don't want people to do things for me, try to do them myself.
Give Daddy a kiss.
And I don't want no one to look down on me. I was on the way from Kandahar to Kalat, hit an IED that just took the truck and threw it up in the air and slammed it on the ground.
Bye-bye.
I knew at first that I got hurt pretty bad because I couldn't move my legs. I sat home alone for months, and I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to go back to work. Hello? It's him. I was hesitant at first, because I didn't work for a good year. I want to be a productive person. I don't want to be a drain on society. I want to be a positive thing in society. PVA helped me write my resume, got me a job interview.
Let me show you to your office.
I got the job.
Helping veterans like Eric is what we've done for over 65 years. Paralyzed Veterans of America, paving access for veterans' employment through Operation PAVE.
Speedy TV.
Live from Paralyzed Veterans of America's Health Summit.
Delivering excellence, achieving state-of-the-art healthcare.
Speedy TV.
We're back with more from day 2 of the PVA's Summit 2012. I'm poking around the expo again here today and just met another one of the Summit sponsors. Here's George Gardner from BioNest. How's it going, man?
It's going great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How's the Summit going for you so far?
So far, so good. We actually just came off a lunch meeting with the founder of our company, a gentleman named Alfred Mann. He's actually founded quite a few medical companies, and we had most of the executive staff of the PVA there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
Sounds
good
like
for us.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a pretty. It's a pretty nice lunch there. My invite got lost somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it's in the mail, I'm sure.
That's right. Tell us about BioNest. What do you guys do?
We're a neuromodulation company that manufactures FES. It's a functional electrical stimulation products that help patients that have foot drop and hand paralysis.
Okay. How do these things work? I mean, I'm looking at these gadgets here and stuff. What exactly do they do?
Well, they're basically two units. One's a leg unit, our L300, which is a cuff that goes just below your knee. The other one's a hand unit. It's an orthosis that goes over your hand. And in essence, they send out an electrical pulse, which stimulates your nerve endings, which affects your muscle groups that need to be effective for therapy.
Oh, okay. So people who suffer from what sort of things benefit from this kind of product?
Most of the patients are either recovering from stroke, or they might have had a traumatic brain injury or incomplete spinal cord injury, but those are typically the patients we find. MS patients as well.
Okay. And we found that actually MS and spinal cord injuries, we learned this week that they really kind of go hand in hand a little bit, don't they?
They can. They're very similar. Yeah, and all of our products are, the efficacy is proven by evidence-based science, so we've done studies on them and to show that we do have positive outcomes, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Now something like this, is these kind of like the first of its sort out there in the market, these devices?
FES has been around for a lot of years, but like a lot of medical devices, the first or second generations are cumbersome. People don't know how to operate them. The difference in ours is we've actually brought a modality to the market that is patient and user friendly. So they need to go to their therapist to have it prescribed. They need to get a prescription for it. But once it's on, it's easy to use. And so patients that use our products after therapy take it home and use it for the rest of their lives. So if it wasn't easy to use, they'd have a problem with that.
Exactly, right? It'd be like the listing, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've all had products like that. Yeah.
And they look nice and small. Like they're not, like you said, they're not huge and cumbersome and everything.
Not at all. Yeah. And every year we try to develop a newer version, make them slimmer, lighter, faster, easier, that type of thing.
So it's your second year at the summit here for BioNest. So
Sure.
obviously something went pretty well last year. Tell us your experience last year and why you decided, you know what, we need to go back again.
Oh, sure. Well, we've been involved with the PVA for quite a few years now, but this is the second summit, and we're one of the founding summit members. And like you said, it has gone well for us. In effect, the PVA actually advocates the same type of patients that we advocate. I mean, it's the same type of patient that we're looking to get the therapy to. So it's a hand-in-hand relationship, and we see it growing in the future.
How long has that relationship with the PVA gone with BioNest?
Well, BioNest in the U.S. has been around for about 8 years, so it's, I think, 6 years ago we got involved with them.
Okay, great.
But the PVA's been around since 1948.
Well, yeah, 66
so
now.
Yeah, long time.
So how important is those sort of partnerships, relationships for a company like yours?
Well, for a company like ours, it can be very important. Like I said, we advocate the same patient base. The patients go to all the rehab facilities and the VAs specifically, and so the PVA's connection with the VA system is beneficial for both of us.
Great. Well, Good luck the rest of the summit. Enjoy. Take it.
And that'll do it here for day 2 coverage of PVA's Summit 2012 in Las Vegas. Now tomorrow we hope you can join us for the 3rd and final installment. We're going to meet a doctor who is renowned for his research in MS. Also, we'll meet some folks who are PVA's newest corporate partner, and we'll get around and talk to some more of the Summit attendees and get their thoughts too. I'm Tim Pogo for Speedy TV. We'll see you then.
Speedy TV,
a service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.